In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at building a message template. Access message templates as a superadmin from under Administrator, Communications, and Message Templates. This will provide a list of all the existing templates. We're going to create a new one, so we click Add Message Template. And this will bring up the message template interface where we're going to build our template. What we're going to do here is we're going to provide a title for the template. So let's say this is a message for new members. We then click inside the HTML editor window. And what we're planning to do here is we're trying to create a page that looks a little bit like a formal letter. So we're going to, first of all, need to insert some images to help with that. We click on the image button or icon here. And we'll be presented with the image property manager. We're going to use this a couple of times in this tutorial. This tab allows us to select a server that's already on the web server. So this will be browsing the web server to find an image. In this case, if we click that, we're going to see that while there are some images uploaded, we don't have the letterhead or a couple of the images we need for this. So we're going to click close. We're going to click on the upload tab instead. Now, upload tab has a button on it that says choose file and send it to the server. So we have to choose a file. Now we're choosing a file that is stored locally on our own computer. So this is interface onto my computer here. And I can see some images that I've extracted from a Word document. And I've taken these images and I've also optimized them so that they're a better size for web utilization. So I'm going to choose my letterhead first. I'm going to double click it, or if I look down here on my computer, scroll up so you can see it, I've selected it, and then I can click open. And that adds it to this dialog here. Now what I'm going to do is I want to send it to the web server. So I have to click this button to actually complete the upload. So I'm going to click send to the server. The image has been uploaded to the server. We don't edit this URL button. In fact, with this particular case, I think we're happy with the size of that and the height. So all we need to do is click the OK button. And now we'll see that my image is added into my message body. On the HTML editor here, there's a button with these little 4 arrows. And if I click on that, I'm going to take this window, I'm going to maximize it to full size. So it's going to replace the civiCRM interface with the editor. And that just gives me more room to work with. So I'm going to show you how that works. If I click on this, and I'll see it in full. And I can click on that to return, so I can toggle back and forth. So let's say that I'm writing a letter, and this is sort of a form letter, if you will, that's going to be used for sending a welcome message to new members. I'm going to press enter, give me a little bit of space, and I'm going to say dear. And because I want to use this as a form letter, I don't want to have to type in the name of each individual, so I can use tokens to replace with actual values from the contact list. So I'm going to type in first name, and it pulls up the first name, and I just click. So all I did here, if we delete that again, is I clicked on this icon, this drop down, I typed in first name, and then I can press enter, or I can just click this to select it. I enter in a comma, and then I continue with my text. So I write some text. Maybe I want to add some bullets, so I say I press enter, and then I can continue to type. Now, an important element in my letter is that I want to have a nice little footer on here. And that's a little tricky when you're creating an HTML formatted page, because HTML isn't aware, web pages aren't aware of page breaks or the sizes of documents. So we have to play, and that's just the nature of building a template sometimes. You got to play to see whether or not you're getting it right. So we're going to take a guess here, because we're going to have to create some white space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maximize the full window view here, and I'm going to press enter a number of times just to insert some white space here. And I really don't know how many lines I can get here, so I have to play. Now, at the bottom, I want to have a footer that looks a little bit like what it looks like inside this Word document here. I've got the header, and we've got this footer here with these images. So that's the Word document. I'm going to come back to my HTML editor here. I have to right-click. Sorry, I don't right-click. Place the cursor where I want the table, and I go up here, and I choose Table. and the table properties manager is going to come up. Now I want a table that has one row. I happen to remember that the image at the top is about 700 pixels, so I'm going to make my table about 700 pixels. I want 3 columns, a left, middle, and right column. So I'm going to go and enter. So I've got a table with one row, a width of 700, 3 columns, and currently it has a border size of 1, and that means I'm going to be able to see the border. And I'm going to do that just while I'm building the template, and then we'll come back and remove that when I'm done. So I click OK. So now here's my table with the border. Now I want to add an image to this left-hand column. So go back to my image manager. And if I browse server, I'll see that the image I'm looking for isn't on the server yet. So what I need to do is I need to upload that. So I'm going to close this window and I go to the Upload tab. I choose File. This is going to take me to my own computer. Again, I've got a folder here on my desktop. I'm going to choose the first image that I need. So I just double click on that, or sorry, click it and click Open. Now I need to send it up to the server. This is the part where it actually uploads it from my computer up to the web server, up to civiCRM. So I click Send it to the server, and it's uploaded. And now what I need to do is I want to change the height. That's a pretty large image for a footer, so I'm going to guess maybe 100 pixels in size is about right for that. So I'm going to click OK. I don't think that looks too bad. Now I'm going to click on the third column, so I place my cursor over the third column and click. I go back up to the image manager again. I need to upload my other image, so I go to the Upload tab, choose it from my local computer, double click it to select it, and again I'm going to send it to the server, so upload it to the web server so I can use it in my template. So I choose Send to Server. There it is again. Again, I think that one's also too big, so I'm going to change it to 100 pixels. And then I'm going to click OK, and you're going to see that that is left aligned, and that's not what And so to resolve that, I place my cursor inside the cell again, and I right click, and I choose Cell. I want to change the cell properties. And I'm going to change the horizontal alignment to right. And now my image is on the right. I could do the same with my left, though the default is left. So if I right click here, I could choose Cell Properties, and I could force that to left, and then click OK. Now I want to insert the text into the middle here. So I place my cursor inside that middle cell. I'm going to go back to my Word document. I'm going to copy, Control-C, copy that out, and make sure my cursor is there and press Paste, Control-V to paste. And now I'll see that I have my address information. Now maybe I don't want to have a paragraph break between each one of these lines. So I'm going to place my cursor at the end of the first line, and I'm going to press the Delete key. Then I hold down my Shift key and press Enter. And I do it with the next row. At the end, I press Delete. I hold down Shift, I press Enter. Same thing again one last time. So Delete, Shift, Enter. That inserts a line break instead of a paragraph tag, so it means there's no spacing between each line. I go back up and I can take a quick scan. Things are coming along here quite nicely. Say I want a signature. I'd like to make it look like maybe the president of the organization is sending this letter and signed it. So again, I can place my cursor somewhere near the bottom here. I'm going to enter in sincerely. Press Enter. I'm going to go back to my image manager. I'm going to browse the server this time because somebody previously uploaded the signature, so I can just choose the Browse button. I'm going to find the signature of the individual I want. I take it, I double click it. It's in here. I'm feeling that's a little high, so I'm going to try 150 pixels and see how that looks. Maybe again that's a little large, so I could double click on it, or right click, sorry. Select it, right click, Image Properties, and maybe I'm going to make that 100. Let's try 100 pixels. That looks nice. Then I press Enter, and I'm going to type in the individual's name. So now I've got my letter with the header, some text with a token replacement, some additional text, the signature block, and this. Now, the problem at this point is I don't know if that's going to look nice on 8.5 by 11 paper yet. What we're going to do is we're going to click the 4 arrows to minimize the HTML editor so it pops back into the window. Now, if you're worried that for some reason you might lose this, you can always go Control-A, which selects all, and Control-C. And that'll just copy it to your clipboard, and you can keep it there on your clipboard in case something goes wrong. So one last look at my form here, and I noticed that one of the challenges that I have at this, one of the things I overlooked was that I still have my border around my table here. So I'm going to place my cursor, my mouse cursor, anywhere inside any one of these cells. Doesn't matter as long as I'm inside the table. I'm going to right-click my mouse button and choose Table Properties. And here I'm going to set my border size to 0 now. And when I do that, the border disappears. So again, maybe I just want to make sure I save that. Okay, so I'm going to press Control A, Control C, just to copy it, just in case. Spend some time on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. So I just click the Save button down the bottom. There's also a Save button at the top. You can press either of them. So if I click Save, what I now have is my new message template right here. What I want to do now is I want to test the template to see if it works. So I'm going to go over and choose a contact. I have a test contact in here that I like to use for this. And then I'm going to click the Actions button and choose Print PDF Letter. I'm going to choose the template I just created. Welcome to new members. Okay, and it populates your letter area with the template information, just like we saw in the Message Templates Manager and Admin. And I'm going to click the Make PDF button. And let's see how my PDF looks. Will it fit on the page? Let's find out. Here we go. So I make, it'll download it. Depending on which browser you're using, it might ask to open immediately. I'm using Chrome here, and it just downloads it over here. So I click on it to open it. And I see it inside my HTML editor. I can see, does that look like it looks good on 8.5 by 11 paper? Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Maybe I could have a few more lines down here if I wanted to try to push this a bit lower on the page. So what I could do is I can cancel this, and I could add a few more lines. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, notice that I'm inside working on my contacts still. I'm sending a letter to this gentleman. I have the option here if I want to click Update Template, and this will update the template with those extra spaces that I put, so I can reuse that in the future. So why don't I do that? Let's say Update Template and click Done. And I'm going to make it again. So I'm going to run it, choose Print PDF. I'm going to choose my template down here, and then I'm going to click Make PDF. And again, I'll get a chance to review it. Let's see. Yeah, that looks a little better. And I could probably even put a few more spaces in there, but that's pretty good for a start. So then, of course, from here I can go and proceed to print it or save it or whatever I want to do with it. I can click the Done button. And then if later on I need to modify that template for some reason, I can come back to Communications and back to Message Templates. I see my messages here. Here's the one we just built. So I click the Edit button. We can scroll down and we can make other changes to it. Maybe we want to put a few more spaces in there. Maybe we want to change the text. Maybe we're updating it for a new year. And when I'm done making those changes, I click Save. And again, a quick review of the most important things inside the editor, if we were to edit, is being aware that you can use this icon to increase the window editor to full size. You need to be aware that right-click will bring up a context menu. So if we're right-clicking inside a table, it'll bring up things like table properties or the ability to edit the properties of rows or add rows. Choosing an image and right-clicking brings up the image property, so I can make changes to the image. I can select an image by clicking on it, or I can drag across the image like this. So I have my cursor and I just drag. I can remove my image. I can resize my image. If I want to resize this image, I right-click Image Properties, and I can use this to change the size of the image. This is my token replacement, so if I want to put tokens, fields from civiCRM, and insert them into my message template, I can do it just by putting the cursor where I want that text, and then choosing the token. And of course, you're free to copy and paste. You can press Control, highlight your text, Control, Dear Member. And then I don't know why you would do this, but you could put your name there. So you can see I can copy and paste those tokens around. And then when I'm done working on it, I click the Save button. And that's how we build message templates in civiCRM.